If we're going to be successful in executing above and below the line in our relationships, at work, wherever we are, we've got to understand a word that I don't even like to use it, but I need to because I think we overuse this word. The word is culture, and I want to, if you would allow me to just use that buzzword for just a few minutes, because I want to help us to understand how important it is to build a culture that allows us to lead above and below the line. And we can talk about, navigating it. We've talked about the fear and the monster and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's the culture that we develop with our personal relationships and with our teams and our professional relationships that allow us to really move forward in this crossing the line style of leading. So how do we do that? What is culture anyway? I mean, we could define it in a plethora of ways. But once again, I've got just a small equation I think that'll help us. In fact, it's just the ABCs. It's really simple. It's action plus belief equals culture. A plus B equals C. You see, if we have action, that's clearly below the line. And if all we do is act, then we're not creating culture. We're just acting. We're just, doing things to keep us busy. If we just have a belief that's really strong of who we are and why we are and what we are, but that's all we have, and we just stay there, well, once again, that's just, it's philosophizing and dreaming and talking, but without the action piece, nothing ever gets done, and there's no culture there. There's no healthy culture there, I should say. So it takes both. It takes action plus belief to get to a healthy culture. So how do we do that? How do we create these actions and beliefs that align and bring us to a healthy culture? So I want you to think about some questions. I want you to think about 5 questions. And I'm going to ask you these questions because as you begin to develop this ABC culture, this actions plus belief, we need to allow ourselves to explore what we mean by this ABC. So we'll start with this belief, and then we'll come back to actions. And so I want you to think about what you believe, and I want you to answer these questions above the line. I want you to answer these questions not from the task, not from goals, not from data. I want you to answer these questions from above the line, from what you believe, from what's inside of you. The first question I have for you is, as you think about your relationship, as you think about your team, either way, professionally or personally, what is your purpose? Boy, that sounds simple, doesn't it? Larry, that's pretty easy. Our purpose is on this team to make money. No. That's not your purpose. That may be an end result that you hope, to achieve. But what is your purpose? What is your purpose in a personal relationship that you're involved with? What is the purpose of that relationship? And are you aligned in that purpose? Have you had that conversation? If you really take that question and process it, it will challenge your thought process. On a team, in a company, in an organization, what is the purpose of the leadership team? What is the purpose of the team itself? What are we there to do? You say, well, we're there to create widgets. We're there to create productivity. We're there to be efficient. Nope. Those are all tasks. Those aren't purpose. Those are end results. But I'm asking you, go back to thinking about who you are and the trust you have in yourself. What is your purpose? What is your purpose as a team? What is your purpose in a relationship? And I hope now you're beginning to think about investing in one another. I hope you're beginning to think about our purposes to grow leaders within our organization, to invest in our employees, to create an atmosphere, to provide for them. I hope you're thinking about something greater than and bigger than just making money. I hope you're thinking on a higher level. And you're getting out of your comfort zone and forcing yourself to process some of this. The second question I have for you, what value do you provide? Now, I want you to think about that value, not in terms of below the line. We make these widgets and we send them across the world. Nope, that's not what I'm asking. What value do you provide? What value do you provide in your personal relationships? What is the value that you bring into that relationship? Is it encouragement? Is it stability? Is it authenticity, care? What about on a team over here in your professional life? What is it that you bring that's valuable? What is the value that you bring to this team? What does your team bring? What is the value that this team provides? Is the value that we provide a place for each other to be heard? We provide a place for each other to learn and grow. We bring value to this company because we see the big picture and we help navigate that. I don't know. What is your value? You know what? If you don't know your value, then you're probably not bringing any. And you need to think that through. What is your value? As we think above the line, not below, not how many products and widgets you produce. That's not what I'm interested in. Above the line, answer this question for me. What are your habits? What are our habits above the line now? Not talking about the job description, but what are our habits in a relationship? Do we have the habit of spending time intentionally together, having date night or in a friendship, hearing each other, connecting with each other, calling one another? Do we have the habit of giving authentic feedback to one another? Same thing in a team. What are your habits in terms above the line? What are your habits? How do we invest in each other habitually above the line? What do we do above the line as an organization? What kind of habits do we have that truly encourage and lift up our employees and truly show that we care about them? What are those habits? Think about it. The next question I want you to think about is, what does success look like above the line? What does success look like? Not talking about, well, we met our numbers, we met our goals. Nope, that's below the line. Need to know, what does success look like in a relationship? So what is a successful relationship to you? Have you ever talked to your partner about that? Ever talked to the person you're in a relationship with and said, what does success look like to us above the line? Not did we meet our financial goals. That's not what I'm talking about. What does a successful relationship look like? And in a team, in an organization, what does success look like above the line? Think about truly speaking into each other's lives. Think about a team that works together, a team that creates an environment of safety and health, a team that truly has an authentic care for the employees that they. I don't know. What does success look like? You think about that above the line. I challenge you. Think about it. Don't just blow it off. And finally, as you think about your purpose and your values and your habits, what does success look like, the definition of? The last question is, what about your priorities? What things are really important as you think about what are our priorities? And I know that that's part of our equation, but I really wanted you to kind of focus on it for just a minute. If success looks like this in our personal relationship, let's talk about, speaking kindness into each other's life is a priority. We're going to make that a priority, that we're going to be kind to one another instead of judgmental and critical and sarcastic. Or on a team, you know what? A priority is that we really work on communicating well, and we want success looks like that we have fluid communication and we push back and we have freedom to do that, and then we encourage one another, whatever that is. Well, those are priorities. We're going to take those and we're going to work on that. We're going to work on being able to give and receive feedback on this team. It's really important. It's a priority, so we're going to focus on it. So if you think about that, those are your beliefs. That's what we believe to be important. These are things that we believe that we want to achieve. These are all above the line. Then you take those same questions, reverse it, and go below the line. Set your goals and your data and your accountability in order of what's our purpose below the line. We got to get these widgets out, yada, yada, yada. What's our purpose in this relationship? Well, we want to get married here, or we want to have a friendship here, or we want to create a way to stay connected, whatever. What is our purpose? Our purpose is in a personal relationship. This is our end goal, whatever that means. What do we value? What are our habits? What does success look like below the line? It's probably a little bit easier for you to think about that below the line. But I challenge you, go below the line and answer these questions. What are our priorities? Below the line, well, we got to do this and this and this. And it's a good exercise. Below the line, it generally goes a bit quicker, and it's a bit easier when you think about those tangible things. But I challenge you to do that. And here's why. In order to have a culture that is healthy, those actions plus beliefs, you have to have both in order to do that. Then you create that culture. In order for you to do that, you've got to really look at something that's going to challenge you. You've got to really look at something that is going to, it may even intimidate you. You've got to be willing, in order to create this culture, to leap from being the expert to being the leader. Wow. You found your validity probably all of your life based on if you were good enough, or based on if you had this expertise. You may have even gotten to the position in your company that you have based on your ability to solve problems and be brilliant and be the expert in your field. And that's wonderful. Experts are needed, and we have to have experts. But we also have to have leaders, and leaders create culture. Leaders create that healthy culture. Their actions and belief, they're the ones that saturate that. But the problem is, it's incredibly difficult for many people to leap from being the expert to being the leader. And the reason is we find our validity from being the best. We find our validity from being the expert. In a personal relationship, it looks like taking down our mask and leaping into vulnerability. We leap from being protected and kind of making sure we don't take those risks in a relationship to being vulnerable and to leading those in a relationship around us with our trust and authenticity and vulnerability. That's a leap. But specifically for now, let's take a minute and talk about teams, because I really want you to think about this in a professional setting, in a work environment. Let me give you 4 quick tips as we close. 4 quick tips that you need in order to leap from being the expert. I'm going to challenge you. Stop being the expert if you want to lead and become the leader. Here's what you need to do. Number 1, build up your relationships. It's all about relationships. If you're going to lead, it can't be about you just in your corner working on your widget. That can't be that. It can't just be you doing your thing. That's fine if you want to be the expert. Leaders lead people. Leaders have relationships. So work on your relationships. We've talked about how to do that. Number 2, don't do the work. Stop doing the work. Enable others to do the work. Could be the biggest challenge you face. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. In fact, you shouldn't. If you're going to lead, you should be giving that work away and enable others to do the work. Teach, invest, allow them to do. I know that's hard, but that's what leaders do. Number 3, you don't have to have all the facts when you're leading a team. Don't get into micromanaging. Don't have to have all the details, but have an engaged presence. An engaged presence means I'm trusting you to have the details, and I'm going to stay engaged, and I'm going to hold you accountable, but I trust you to do what I've empowered you to do. I trust you to do what I've asked you to do. I trust you. I don't have to have all the facts. By the way, on the personal side, that looks like not micromanaging those in our personal relationship. I don't have to know where you are 24/7. I'm engaged. I'm here. We're together. But I'm not going to control. Looks like you don't have to control. And that vulnerable thing I talked about, that means trusting them and being engaged, but you don't have to have all the details to be engaged. Last thing, get past those stinking details and see the big picture. Allow yourself to see the big picture. Look, you're a leader. That task that you found so validating in the past, you don't have the right just to focus on that anymore. You have to see how relationships are being formed. You have to see what's best for the overall good of the team and the organization. You have to look at things from a 360 view. You have to look at things that are in other places across the organization that may or may not even be in your field. So you have to see the bigger picture. As a leaders see the big picture. They understand and know the process, but they see the big picture. Build your relationships. Enable the work. Have an engaged presence and see the big picture. Then you'll be on your way to building that ABC culture. Actions plus beliefs. Ask yourself those hard questions as you assess. When you do those things, you'll be on your way to crossing the line. And I'll leave you with this. Brilliant man, probably one of the most intelligent men I've ever met, told me this. He was an executive at a very large company. He said, Larry, don't ever mistake brilliance for direction and purpose. In other words, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. Think about that as we continue to cross the line to make a difference.